Hello everyone, today we are going to be discussing schizophrenia. Now, schizophrenia falls under the category of abnormal psychology because of the fact that it is a mental disorder. So diving right in here, according to Brian Smith of Pikes of Psych Central, schizophrenia is caused by the over-release of dopamine within the brain. Now what are the major causes? According to the National Institute of Mental Health, there are two major causes that have been identified so far. First, a genetic link. So basically, this means that an individual who's got an ancestral lineage of schizophrenics will have a much higher chance of getting schizophrenia than somebody from a general populace. Moving on, there's also an environmental factor that has been coming up in recent years. Basically, this means that if an individual has been exposed to malnutrition and viruses before they were born, then they will be at a much higher risk of diagnosed with schizophrenia. Moving right along here, we come to the different types. According to Mental Health America, there are 5 major types, however, only 3 will be discussed today for time constraints. Starting off with paranoid schizophrenia, we come to see the fact that many paranoid schizophrenics feel like they are constantly being under watch and they're constantly suspicious. Moving on, there is catatonic schizophrenia, in which individuals might feel constantly depressed and experience depression-like symptoms. Finally, there is disorganized schizophrenia, in which a person may have incoherent speech and constant inability to communicate with their caregivers. So moving on here, what are the common symptoms? Well, according to NPR, one of the major symptoms that has been reported among almost all kinds of schizophrenics is this concept of imagining things, such as demons and hearing voices. This is especially present in paranoid schizophrenics. NPR even did a point of view of a paranoid schizophrenic in which they exemplified this and showed how bad and how debilitating it can be for these individuals. Moving on, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, there's also communication areas that are present, especially with disorganized schizophrenics. And basically, this means that they're unable to talk and they have got an inhibition to actually speak with their caregivers. This just shows how debilitating this disease truly is. So moving on to the final thing here of who exactly is affected. Well, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, 1 out of every 100 Americans will be diagnosed with schizophrenia at some point in their life. Of course, if there is a genetic link, such as any sort of historical family link, then they'll be at a 10 times higher likelihood, and the thing is raised to 1 out of every 10. Moving on, according to Debbie Song of the University of Washington, if the link is as close as identical twins, then it can be up to 60% of likelihood of having 2 identical twins, both being schizophrenic, as long as one is diagnosed. So coming back to this whole idea here, we come back to see that the whole thing of schizophrenia is extremely debilitating, and as such, we should aim to find a cure as soon as possible.